because he started 9th on the grid, making good progress. Side by side for the lead, Gus Burton clatters his way up the inside of Cian Jewis, who goes off the road and into the gravel, and they're all going to come streaming past him. Yes, he has. So Michael Clark with a puncture and comes out. Yep, there it is. The tyre pops. He spins around. He will have to... Oh, he's missed the pit in. He's got to limp round for a whole lap, in fact, but he does get going again. But he's still stuck there behind Mika Stanley, and this is what happened. Coming down towards the chicane, a big, big lock-up through the gravel. Went Will Martin back onto the circuit, and then Stanley goes wide. Cian Jewis lines up for a go on the inside line. There's more contact between the two of them. Jewis goes straight on over the curb and into the gravel, and that could be race over. Cian Jewis straight on at Coppice. Big, big lock-up for Gus Burton. Off the road he goes through the gravel, and that's going to make his tyres really grubby, and he's going to lose him the race lead, because through now, past him.
And on the inside, look, there you see Cian Jewis making up some places on the inside.
So Matty Graham trying to build that lead. Last time around he did the fastest lap. That was Peter Kyle Henney. Let's see how he got there. Was there some help?
Yeah, it looks like he did have a bit of help, didn't it? Just managed to slide the car and stop it before going back onto the track, but that's not a place you want a little touch, is it? It's no good flashing the lights. There's no one in front of you, Cian.
But he's done it. He's got through. Oh, drama for Burton, who goes around. Smalley has to go off in avoidance, but he turned in and clipped the tyre stack on the inside. There's lubricant on the road. That's Burton's race run. Yeah, and he smashed the radio.
Amusingly, watch Cian Jewis flash the light where we don't get the forward shot, but then just turning in. And the problem is that at that point, Gus Burton is slightly unsighted because he's got the car in front of him turning across the line. He can't see the line properly and clips the tyres. Smalley did it.
Mark Radcliffe was 19th overall. What did he do? Ran very wide.
Got wide, spun the car around, and Peter Mangian did a really good job to avoid him there, didn't he?
He did indeed, and was therefore caught by Nigel Rice, another driver. The car should be far enough off the racetrack not to have to neutralise the race, but he got it wrong into the first part of Beckett's. Around it went, and the gravel does its job. Let's catch up on one or two of the dramas then. This was Charles Rainford and Nathan Harrison almost coming together down at Graham Hill Bend. That was Charles Rainford going way out wide. The next train of cars, I think, all running out of road as they came into Surtees, where Adhesion just suddenly disappeared. And look, 4 of them in a line, each driver measuring his pace against the one in front, just skated off the road and back on again. And then the next one, completely crossed up, arrives. That might have been Will Aspin's car, in fact, but thankfully was avoided by everyone. Adam Smalley, 5.6 seconds back. Here's the replay. Peter Mangian was being chased by Justin Sherwood, loses the back of the car, and around it goes. Coming up towards Clearways, wasn't it? Ratcliffe on the inside, Aspin on the out, and...
Yeah, Ratcliffe just used he slid out. I mean, he used the exit of the road. He gets on the power, but Aspin is sort of partial. It's only the tiniest touch there, look, but it just fires Aspin off the road.
But McLaughlin, there, look, is getting closer and closer, and drama as Toby Trice with an assist arrives sideways at the chicane. Matthew Armstrong goes through, and let's have another look at that drama at the chicane. Well, it does look as though Armstrong was trying to get into a gap that may not have been Cayman width.
Yeah, difficult to see from that angle. Contact was made. ABS as well fitted, which will be helping them here on a braking.
Oh! Charles Clark wrong, yeah. Around he goes. You were saying about tyres up to temperature.
No, I was also saying about the ABS helping them on the brakes.
That's
as well.
Right. Mugged initially by Jason Pelosi, then he's been passed by Rupert Laslett, and he fights back on the inside of Laslett. Whoops, they get themselves together, sideways, and there's contact. And Carl Cavers and Rupert Laslett involved, but did Charles Clark survive without any damage? Here's the slide. Look, there it is. He's sideways, bang, into the side of Laslett, and bang into the side of Clark as he goes past. So drama coming out of the hairpin.
Yeah, it was that slide midway through the corner, just there. He lost the rear, didn't he? Which made him open the steering, and then they made wheel-to-wheel contact. I'll be amazed if the...
He's had a drama at the hairpin, I think. Let's see him replay. Turns in, gets back onto the power. Whoops, around it goes. It's not Rupert Laslett's corner, that.
Carl Cavers. Now, look, is this the one? Yes, it is.
Up the inside, goes Foster into Steve Roberts. He turns him around, and through goes Armstrong. We said he might be there if the top two tangle. Foster's got a puncture, the bite a bit, because that was his move up the inside.
This will give us a better idea of the line. He dives early. Oh, Steve closes the door a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And at that point...
It's going to be interesting to see whether Steve Roberts can fight back. Here it is from another angle. It's certainly a send. Bang, straight into him.
Yeah. It's a very difficult manoeuvre to pull off.
Replay of Rupert Lazaret.
Not another one.
We've already seen him spin here, and this time he has a different type of spin, but a spin nonetheless, but that's not going to score as many points.
Fire into life, and we're underway, and there's a staller on the grid.
Matty Graham,
who's already had a lap taken away from him, and
no!
he gets collected as well. So that's a huge incident. Ryan Ratcliffe, the car involved. Did anybody else get tangled up in that as well? We're immediately red flag. There are many cars damaged. I think that might be Josh Stanton, quite possibly. Also off the road, the Napa car as well. Matty Graham not getting away from third position. Those in front did, and actually the car immediately behind reacted well, but then bang, Hugo Ellis, and that spears Matty Graham into traffic to the left. Mark Ratcliffe was involved, Ryan Ratcliffe was involved, I think maybe a fifth car as well, and there are 4 very definitely badly damaged Porsches as a result of this, Tim.
Yeah, it's a really nasty accident because of the incline, and Matty Graham was just on the crest of the flat part of the track. He was completely unsighted by the cars coming up further behind, and there's a lot of damage there to the cars, particularly Mark Radcliffe's car. I can't see that taking any further action. This is on board with Josh Stanton starting further back. Fortunately, he goes to the left. It all kicks off in front of him. He backs right out of it, and a gap just miraculously opens up in front of him, and he just gets through unscathed.
He actually had his hands crossed on the steering wheel there, not really knowing which direction to go, but the wall decided it for him. Matty Graham's ended up from the right-hand side of the grid, then wedged up against the concrete pit wall and couldn't immediately get out of the car. He got away initially, and then it stalled.
And he tried to get it going again. This is not going to make nice viewing at all. Horrendous looking accident. I think that was Peter Carr-Henny that had gone off. Yeah, look, he just ran up behind, I think was that Don Bastian, and he got caught, had to jump on the brakes and spun himself out. He's being overtaken here. Has there been a little bit of a touch? Yeah, there has.
It was Jewis, wasn't it? Kean Jewis, looking for a way by. That's a real shame. Oh, spin coming out, and that's Peter Carl-Henny and Nigel Rice. It's Rice off the road. Now, that was all kick-started by some contact, having to inch his way to the surface. It was Peter Carl-Henny on the inside, and then contact as they came out of the corner.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate, wasn't it? The cars came together on the exit of the corner. I mean, Carl-Henny was right there, but then just ran out and left really Nigel.
So he gets it wrong coming into the first part of the S's. That gives Ian Logie a chance to challenge on the inside heading into bomb hole. Nigel Rice leaves the door open, then comes across, makes contact, goes over once, and a sort of corkscrew effect as well. So 2 or 3 big jarring impacts in that. Very spectacular. Another angle, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, he made a mess of it and should have probably expected Ian Logie to come up the inside, but the contact was very early in the corner on the right rear tyre. So, I mean, Nigel Rice hadn't scrubbed off any speed, so that ended up in a very nasty looking accident because the car gets flipped up from contact of the left front and right rear before Nigel's even had any chance to brake at all. And as you can see, the very hard earth areas that's really takes a big impact. So unsurprisingly, Nigel will not be out in this race too.
Hugo Ellis now being attacked by Nathan Harrison as well, and behind Harrison you've got Will Aspin, and a big slide by Ellis, who goes around off the racetrack. Thankfully everybody avoids him, and Hugo Ellis, who was second in Pro-Am to Charles Rainford, has just spun himself way out of contention. Here it is from another angle. So Hugo Ellis made the move on the inside. There was just about a gap, but the curb that he hit rather launched him, unsettled the car, and around he went. And Josh Stanton is going to make it 10 out of 11 as Angus Whiteside spins behind him. Josh Stanton makes no mistakes, and he is going to be the AM champion. He dive into Allard for the first time. Theo Edgerton yet to win in these cars, leads, and off the road in the background goes Will Aspin. He's into the tyres. Will Aspin tries to get himself off the ground.
Look at Will Martin. He gets inside of Adam Smalley to block him off. And then there's... Oh, that was the twitch from Will Aspin's car. I'm not sure if he got a contact or just touched the inside curb, but that's done the radiators, obviously. And
let's see how he did it then. So goes into the second part, Cobb up the curb, bounces off the curb, bounces into the traffic. Around he goes. Hugo Ellis has a big scare in avoidance. He had a pretty torrid first race, did Hugo, and more time lost there avoiding an errant car. And Nick Jones in the tyres. And it's the chicane by the look of it, looking well embedded. Let's have a look. So he comes into the chicane,
just too quick. He just carried too much, brake too late, and there's no stopping the car. Fortunately, a relatively light impact with the tyres. We're going to see it from across the road now. Look, he scrubbed off most of the speed, not too heavy.
And Nick Jones to the tyre barrier, and therefore a retirement. The Marshals trying to push him out of the tyres. Let's try and piece it together then. This is looking at the Beckett's exit. Will Martin goes around, Adam Smalling goes off in avoidance, but how Will Martin
position, and that was the penalty you pay, is a slightly steeper incline off that pole position as somebody spins to the back, and there's contact. 3 cars involved, 1 into the barriers, but Keane Jewis a very opportune.
They go through together. Big dive on for second place as the safety car is indeed being deployed, and it's all kicking off up at Westfield because that number 10 car is Will Martin, Keane Jewis' championship rival, off through the gravel and back on again, and the spin is Theo Edgerton, is it, who's gone all the way around as well. So this is mayhem on the first lap of the race. So there is Will Aspin, who gets a bit of a rub from Angus Whiteside, and he gets sideways, and then as he comes across the track, bang, he gets Ryan Ratcliffe, who is collected in turn by Hugo Ellis.
Yeah, perfectly described there, that little touch.
3 abreast in the background in the classes, but then down towards Graham Hill Bend. Keane Jewis through, he's fine, he's clearing away, and then that lock-up from Angus Whiteside, he gets into the side of Will Aspin, who comes across and hits Ryan Ratcliffe, who is hit by Hugo Ellis, who was hit by Charles Bateman.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the other incident coming into Westfield. The safety car boards aren't out, you can see that at the Marshals. And look, Theo Edgerton takes a lunge up the inside of Will Martin. They have a brief contact, that puts them both out into the gravel at Westfield. Will Martin gets back on further down, and as they go onto the grass, Theo Edgerton loses control of the Porsche and spins all the way around.
Edgerton and Martin finding it a little bit tougher to do the same thing. Into paddock they go now. So White, who knows Brands Hatch pretty well from many a mile around here in Formula Ford 1600, he's up to 9th, and off the road there at high speed goes the car of Jack Bartholomew. Goes Will Martin. And so, yeah, Will Martin off the road, up towards Druid, they go, and the red flag is shown instantly to stop the race. Marshals, the circuit staff, as I say, are hard at work to try and retrieve the car. How did it get there? Well, it was like this. He comes into Paddock Hill Bend just ahead of Theo Edgerton, starts to slide a little. Edgerton, perhaps Tim Harvey goes to the inside, and there's just a little bit of contact. Yeah,
I think Will Martin just tried to tighten the line up at the exact same moment that Theo Edgerton was looking to get down the inside, and there was that slight contact, and that was enough to turn the car around. So just a little touch there, off goes Will Martin at unabated speed, right into the barrier backwards.
And off he goes, and you can see the Marshals run for cover. Nobody injured in that, amazingly. So the car comes to a pretty sudden stop, having gone through the tyres, the barrier gives way. And this is a really interesting angle, this, because Theo Edgerton, you can see, tries to go for that undercut. Will Martin either comes across the road or was tagged across the front of him.
Yeah, I think Will saw him in the mirror starting to go for that move, and so tightened his line. It's not Marshall, that's just tyres and a coat, an orange coat moving there. And then out comes one of the Marshals from underneath the debris. Nobody hurt at all in that accident, which I'm delighted to say. As you say, did it in race 1. Look, he cuts back to the inside, gets a little bit of an overlap, and then they come together just here on the brakes. Bang! Look, it almost took the wheel completely out of his hands.
There it is from the outside. There's the contact, and Gus Burton fired across the road, positions the car for the inside line, up now towards paddock. He goes 5th. Gus Burton tries to go through as well, but there's contact, and Mika Stanley is dispatched towards the gravel, and that is where he will stay.
He will not be coming out of that. That was a shame, because he brakes very late, goes for the inside, and contact is made there. Now, that angle, you know, it's difficult to see who was, he was quite a long way up the inside, didn't think you could apportion blame. This is a bit more in the, this looks worse for Gus Burton, because he sort of arrives late to the party, doesn't he? At which point Mika would say, well, I was perfectly entitled to turn into the... this is the move. That's the one that put... Who was it? Was that Gus Burton?
Yes, I think so.
I think it might be. Yeah. That was Gus Burton again in the Century car.
Let's have a look. There is Jack Bartholomew off the road. He comes back. There's a second bit of contact with Burton as the car pendulums. But yes, Gus Burton.
They come down the pit straight, the right front of Armstrong's, the left rear of Trice, and that is off for Armstrong, and there's fluid on the track. Off into the barriers goes Marcus Armstrong, and that is surely now his championship done. There, though, is Matthew Armstrong. He's in the gravel, he's out of the race, and now surely out of the championship. Now, this was the contact. Wow, went right up over the back of Trice's car. It was a big hit. No wonder it's broken the radiator, but with a slippery surface down here, I really don't like the idea of them carrying on at racing speed. And why are we trying to overtake? And the yellow flags, around goes Rupert Lasler. That was contact from Creswick behind. They're both in the gravel trap, and under double-waved yellow flags, that is not going to go down well at all. Yellow flags are out clear as day, and yet for some reason Creswick goes up the inside. I think he thought that Lasler was going wide on the fluid or something, but he wasn't. He turned into the corner, contact made not once but twice, and big damage done to both cars. But, well, here we go, back up the inside into Coppers. There is contact between the two of them. Sterling slams the door shut when White was very much there, and then drives himself off the track anyway. So David Sterling will relinquish second place in the AM class. He's going to spin back onto the track, right over onto the other bit of grass on the right-hand side, and does a nice little pirouette as well. So, and John White goes to the inside line. There's the contact, and I don't actually think that's the reason that